a group of friends that are in Surrey, and they all sew together.
Okay.
But no, I'll ask around and see if there are any groups or shows on around your area.
Lovely. Yeah.
Right, so the next thing that I'm going to do is add the invisible zip. So I don't know, Erica. It's not as bad as it seems.
Oh my God, I'm terrified.
I'm suddenly paying attention again now.
Exactly. Wake up, everybody, wake up. I just have to
God.
find the invisible zip first. So I wasn't able to get a zip that was the same colour as this because it's quite an unusual zip, in unusual colour. So I've actually just gone for a dark navy, and the only bit that's going to be showing is just this little toggly bit, the zip pull, if we put it in correctly. So yeah, that I'm sure it will be completely invisible apart from a little navy blue toggle. So yes, the first
so you
thing,
didn't go for the invisible zip then, Sarah?
Yeah, I decided I wanted to show you how to do the invisible zip.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
Kind of the same process. It's a very similar process, but I thought, you know, this is what people worry about. You know, it can definitely be a bit of a kind of nemesis for a lot of people putting in an invisible zip, and I want to show you how easy it can be. So
Okay.
Can I use the same thing for a visible zip? Because mine is not invisible, it's just a normal zip.
Absolutely. I will tell you as we go along what to do differently for a regular zip. So yeah, I can show you the two. It's virtually the same. There's just one particular thing that you have to do differently. So I'll run through that and change my camera onto the overhead. So
can I just ask another quick question, Sarah? When I bought the fabric, they didn't have a 12-inch invisible. So I've got, I don't know, it's probably about 16. Do I cut it off now, or how?
Not at this stage.
Right.
No.
Okay.
So yeah. So put it in as it is. Mark your 12 inches down on the garment, on the trouser leg, culotte leg, and put it in as it is. And then I'm just thinking, I've got a video of how to finish off the ends.
I mean, I've got a 12-inch of the regular,
a regular zip. I would put the invisible in.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, yeah, like I say, I've got the video of how to finish off the ends, which I won't be able to post, I don't think, yet, because I think it still needs a bit of editing, I'm afraid. But I'll post that as soon as I can, probably beginning of next week. And it's something that you can do after. It's kind of, you can do it right at the end.
Okay, thank you.
Just like a finishing touch to make sure that it's all...
Yeah. Right, you won't hear a piece out of me.
You're going to be concentrating.
I've got the same problem. I've got one that's a bit shorter than 12 and one that's a bit longer. So I would go for the longer.
I would go for the longer. Yeah. It's a lot easier with a longer one. I've actually got quite a short one, which is not ideal. But again, I've got the regular zip that's longer. But I'll show you how to do it with the shorter. And then I'll share the video with you early next week on how to finish off, how to trim your zip and finish it off.
Okay. So we're putting this in the right-hand side?
I like to have mine in the right-hand side because I'm right-handed.
Yeah.
If you're left-handed, you might want to...
I'm right-handed, so that's fine.
Yeah. But it is just a case of kind of holding the trousers up to you and saying, right, which is actually the right-hand side. So just making sure that you know which side you're putting it into. And then I'm actually just going to put a pin in that side, just so I definitely know which side I am putting my zip into. And then I'm going to open up my zip. And you can, if you want to, if you've not done invisible zips before, you can press the teeth over. So you can press them open. I'm not going to do that with this because I've got an invisible zip foot that I can put on my machine. And I know that I can roll it over as I'm sewing. Okay. But if you do find that your zip isn't, if you've done invisible zips before and you found that you haven't been able to get your stitching close enough in to where the zip teeth are, then giving your zip a quick press with like a low heat iron can just help to relax those teeth, open them up.
Okay, sorry, Sarah. It's been years since I put or tried to put an invisible zip on it. I can't even remember what the foot looks like.
No problem. So the foot that we're going to use, you don't want to put this on yet, because we need to use something else first. I think, yes. That's what the invisible zip foot looks like. Okay. And it has 2 little grooves underneath, and that's where the zip teeth will go into. One of each.
Yeah, I remember now. Okay. Yes.
If you don't have that, you can use your regular zip foot, which might look a little bit like that.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more tricky to get your needle really, really close to the zip teeth with this, but you'll get a good effect.
Yeah.
With the invisible zip foot, you can really get close.
Okay, I'll be quiet now. Sorry.
Don't worry, you can come on anytime, ask questions. It's no problem at all. So what I'm going to do to start off with is I'm going to take my zip, and I am going to just change my camera over so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to take my zip and I'm going to mark where I want my zip to open to. Now I want my zip to open to about 5 centimeters above the bottom of where the zip is. So
is that the wrong side, Sarah?
Yeah, so I've put the I'm not actually pinning it onto it at the moment.
Yeah, but you're on the wrong side of the fabric.
I'm on the right side of the fabric. So
So
I've got the right side of the fabric up. I've got that there. So that's the waistline edge. And then I've measured down to where I want my opening to be, which is here.
So there's a notch.
There is a notch, and that is a notch that you can use if you're using a longer zip. I've got a shorter zip.
Okay.
But I think you'll probably find if you've got a 12-inch zip, then that notch will work. I've only got a 9-inch zip, so I'm working on kind of a smaller. So you can either use that notch, or you can use you can measure and mark.
And we pin it in?
So just pop a pin in just to mark it for now. And then you want to take your front piece, or your other piece, your other 2 joined pieces, I should say, and place that piece right sides together over the top. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be joining the waist to where you've marked with a basting stitch. And then from there, we're going to cut off your threads, we're going to back stitch, and we're going to join the whole of the seam with a regular stitch. So basting stitch up to where you've marked, cut off your threads, back stitch, and then stitch all the way down the rest of your side seam to close it. And that's all with your regular seam allowance, so with your 1.5 centimeter seam allowance. So I'll just pin my culottes first. And whenever I'm pinning a long stretch, I always pin the top, the bottom, so the waist, the ankle, the knee, or wherever there are any other notches. And then I put pins in interspersed, because it just stops you getting to the end and realizing that you're all mismatched. Okay. So for the basting stitch, I'm just extending my stitch length to the highest it will go to, its highest length it will go to, which for me is 5, just like we did for the stay stitching.
Oh no.
Are we okay?
So is it right sides down? The front should be right side down.
No, no. So you need to be sewing this together with your right sides together, just like you're sewing a normal seam together.
Yeah, okay. Right, I've just unpinned it. No need to.
No worries.
Typical.
Now, there are lots of ways of putting invisible zips in, but this is a way that my fellow tutor Emma showed me, and yeah, I tried it the first time a couple of makes ago, and it's just brilliant. It just works really, really well.
Well, if I can do this, I'm going to love you forever.
Fingers crossed. So I've just base stitched up to where I've marked. So that's to my marking. A little bit further in so you can see. And then I'm going to take my fabric out and cut it off. And then I'm going to switch my stitch setting back to my regular stitch setting. And I'm keeping that pin in for my marking at the moment because I just want to make sure that I'm definitely stitching up to that point. That's where I'm starting my stitching. Again, so just bring the needle down and do a few stitches forwards, a few stitches back, and then I'll carry on and just join the rest of the seam. Just move my water glass out of the way before I knock it off the table because
do you find this method gets round that sort of hole and bump at the bottom of the zip then?
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I was always taught to put them in, you put the zip in first and then you try and sew the seam up.
Yeah,
I've always zip, and I could never quite get it right. It was always a bit lumpy.
Yeah, I've always done it like that. So the original way. And then Emma showed me this. Yeah, it must have been about a month ago. And I was like, no, can't teach an old dog new tricks. No, not sure about this. I'm just going to carry on doing it my way. And then for a couple of makes, I tried this and I was like, this works. Okay. I sent her a message saying, I concede. I shall be following your advice from now on.
Okay, cool.
Okay. I've got my joined seam. And I'm now going to press the whole of the seam open.
What do you mean you've got your joined seam?
So I've joined my I've joined my front panel to my back panel at the side seam, basting the top up to where I marked, and then stitching with a normal stitch to join the rest of the leg panel together.
I've just completely ignored that. And
oh no.
I've just basted the zip in.
Right, yeah, we're not doing anything with the zip. We're not doing anything with the zip at the moment. Leave the zip to one side.
What, take the zip out?
The zip is, yeah, we don't put the zip in yet. So it's just basting closed the side seam up to where you've marked, and then stitching it correctly, stitching it with a regular stitch length all the way down.
Where's my unpicker?
I'm sorry. Sorry to keep on picking.
Oh,
Sorry, you stitch the side seam before you baste that
Yes.
zip in.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that's right.
Okay, right.
Sorry, I should have said that because the traditional method is to put the zip into an open seam, but this
Right.
method really, really works. So
Okay.
well, where's my unpicker?
fortunately, with basting stitches, they are quite easy to undo.
Yeah, I've only done one side. It's
Oh.
okay.
Because this is very similar to how I'd put in
A regular zip.
So I'd baste that section, sew the next section, press it all open, undo the basting stitch, lay my zip behind it, and then sort of top stitch it in.
That
But
is exactly what we're going to do, but without the top stitching.
Top stitching, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is why when Emma told me, I was like, no, that seems too easy. That's too familiar. So I didn't trust her to begin with, but you know, you've got to try these things sometimes and then pass on the knowledge.
So just so that I'm clear, I'm taking this zip out and I am sewing the seam with a basting stitch down to the notch because I've got a 12-inch zip.
That's right.
And then what am I doing past that?
So after that, cut off your threads and then sew the rest of the seam with a normal stitch length.
What,
Just
right down the whole leg?
all the way down the leg, yeah, to join the whole leg.
Right. Sorry to be thick.
And
I
then,
never.
that's all right.
You know.
And then just press it open. So that's where I'm up to. Just got it joined.
What a plonker.
Oh, don't worry. That is the thing about learning, and that's the great thing about learning together. But we'll all get different bits wrong. We'll also all get different bits right, so that's good.
Right. Try again.
Okay. I am going to start working through how to apply the zip. So don't worry if you've got to do a bit of catching up. I can go through things again, but I'll just start walking it through. So we're going to take your zip and put it right side down. So the right side down means that you can see the zip teeth up, and the zip pull is facing downwards. So you want the zip pull facing downwards towards the seam, zip teeth facing upwards. Can you see that fairly clearly? Okay. And then I'm just going to reposition slightly. There we go. And I'm going to look for where my basting stitching is ending. So I'm just going to flip my seam up, and I can see I've got my basting stitching up to here, and then I've got my regular stitching from there, and I can see I've got my little tails, my thread tails. Should really have done this in a contrast colour, it'd be easier to see, but I'm just going to put a pin straight through where that regular stitching starts, where the basting stitching ends. A little bit further down, just so I've got a marker of where that is. In fact, if I put that in with a bit of a thicker pin, you'll be able to see it even better. And then I'm just going to place my zip on top and lining the top edges of the zip with the waistline up here. I am just going to turn light. Yeah, that's better. You see a little bit better now. So I'm going to pin my zip to my seam allowances only right at the bottom. So I've just pinned through my seam allowances. I've not pinned through the front of the trouser. So this is the difference between the regular zip and the invisible zip. With the regular zip, you can put pins going through. So you walk the zip down like so, making sure that the zip teeth align, and then you can put pins all the way through so that they come through on the other side as well. You can't really see it there, but they come through on the other side. With an invisible zip, what you want to be doing is putting pins just through the seam allowances. So you're just pinning and lifting up the seam allowance and just pinning the zip to the seam allowance. So you can see that that is on there. Is that clear enough? Can you see that well? And then on the other side, you're going to do exactly the same. Just making sure at this point it's a good, you've got a chance to kind of realign the zip teeth a little bit and make sure that they're definitely in the middle. Right, so I've got my zip pinned just onto my seam allowances, not through the front of the garment. And I'm going to lift up my camera a little so that I can hold it up and show you that. Oops. But there's no pins on the outside at all, so nothing at all, just attached to the seam allowances. I'm sorry, I'm going over this like 1,000 times, but
is that the wrong side of the zip facing up?
So it's the wrong side of the zip is facing up. Yeah.
Right, thank you.
The right side of the zip and the zip pull is facing down.
Yeah.
So yeah, towards your seam allowances. And then I'm going to grab a needle and thread. I'm just going to hand baste the zip to the seam allowances. You could do this in a sewing machine, but it's a little bit fiddly. And to be honest, I just find sometimes we can try to not hand sew when actually you just need to just do a long basting stitch and it will really help to get a good finish. So I've got nice bright contrast coloured threads. Right, that up. Okay, and just beyond where the notch marking pin is, I'm going to actually start just stitching the zip on to the seam allowances right at the bottom of the zip, just so that it's all completely secured. And when I base stitch, I just do kind of 3 stitches, 2 or 3 stitches in one place. Don't worry about knots and things like that. And 2 or 3 stitches over each other. And then I will carry on stitching. Ideally, I would have a longer needle. I haven't got one to hand. I like a nice long basting needle if I can. And you can take out the pins as you go as well if they're getting in the way. Now, if you are putting in a regular zip, you're going to be wanting to do this all the way through all the layers. So as you can see, I'm picking up, I'm lifting up the seam allowance to just stitch the zip teeth to there. If I was doing this with a regular zip, I'd be stitching all the way through to the front of the garment as well. I've just got somebody else joining the call. Hi, Mitchie. We're just putting the invisible zip in. So you can't see my face at the moment. You can just see me basting the zip to the seam allowances.
No worries. Hello, sorry.
Hello, no worries. We're all doing the bit that everybody's a little bit terrified of. But it's okay because we're all doing it together.
Fantastic.
So you're doing this with the zipper pull
Still up.
closed,
Yeah, still
right
closed.
up to the stopper.
Yeah, that's right.
But what about the kind of lumpiness of it there then?
With the hand stitch, so we're hand stitching
Yeah.
it up to, so I've got the zip completely closed all the way up to the top, and then you just want to make sure at the very top that the zip, like the extension bit, the bit that's beyond where the zip pull is just lined up with the seam that you've made in the side seam.
Okay.
Just do the other side. Yeah.
And what do you do with the tail if you've got loads of extra zip?
If you've got lots of extra zip, just baste it on. If you can I just check who's asking?
It's
Ruth.
Ruth.
Sorry,
Yeah, because
couldn't
I've
see
got
for a minute there. Yeah.
I've got
So
a longer zip because I didn't have
Yeah.
a 12-inch. So
no, yeah, I remember you saying. So there is a way of finishing off the end of the zip nice and neatly. And I
Yeah.
was saying I've recorded a video, but I've not edited it completely yet. So
no,
I'll
but
share
what I
that
mean
with
is at this stage,
Yeah.
I can
So at
see
this-
that you've gone beyond your pin by, what was it, 5
It-
centimeters?
Yeah, about maybe, yeah, about 3 or 4 centimeters. Not a huge.
So should I do the same then? Go beyond
Yeah.
the pin by 3 or 4 centimeters?
That's right. Yes,
But not any further than that.
No, you don't need to go any further than that.
Okay. Sorry to ask what seems like stupid questions.
Not at all. No. Do keep checking. It's also a case of I can't quite remember what I've said and what I haven't. So.
Well, I had to go out the room to do the pressing. So.
Oh yes, of course. I have to say my nemesis is hand sewing. I'm really bad at it because I don't do it enough. And I know if I did it more, like basting and that kind of thing, I'd be much better at it. So, you know, there's a lesson there, isn't there? All basted, and I'm just going to remove my pins. Anything in the way. I'm going to leave that pin in at the bottom where my basting stitching stops, just so that I've got a marker still. And then I'm going to turn over my garment and I'm going to undo my basting stitching. So this is the slightly scary bit where you're like, but I've only just put it in.
So not the basting stitch in the zip, the basting stitch in the seam.
Yes, the basting stitching that is holding the seam together, not the hand basting stitching to attach the zip. And you should find, if you just pull the top thread, it will just all come out quite easily. And then you have your zip inserted like so. You can see that it's and open up down to there. So I've just opened up the zip to start sewing my invisible zip in place. Now, if you're sewing a regular zip, you're going to keep the zip closed, and you would you don't remove the basting stitching that's at the opening. Leave it in, and you're just going to turn over the garment and top stitch around the whole of the zip. So you create a kind of box stitch, go down to the end to where your basting stitching ends, stitch across the zip, and then stitch up. But because we're doing an invisible zip, that's not what we're going to do for this version. So undo the invisible zip, and then I'll move us over to the sewing machine.
Sarah, can I just ask a question?
Of course you can.
Because I don't think this is the thickest one, honestly. I don't think I've got an invisible zip.
Ah, okay.
So on the back,
Mhm.
so on the wrong side, it's completely flat.
Yes. On the wrong side, it's
On the-
completely flat. So that is a regular zip that you've got. So a regular zip looks like this. So you've got the zip pull, and then
Yeah.
you've got the zip teeth on the front. Zip pull
Okay.
and zip teeth.
Yeah,
That's a
so
reg-
there shouldn't be any teeth on the front, should there?
No, it should look like the back. So all an
Okay.
invisible zip is basically is a zip with the zip pull on the other side, on that side.
I've picked up the wrong one because it's so fine, this zip.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's all right. I will just put it in like a normal zip then.
Yeah, you can put it in like a normal zip, and it will function in exactly the same way.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Oh, God.
No, bless you. At least you'll have this for reference for when you do want to do an invisible
Well,
zip.
and this is the whole thing about making a toile, isn't it? So I'm learning as I go. So, yeah, okay, thanks.
Right. Now let's make sure you can see what I'm doing. Oh, sorry about the moving the camera. The camera, this camera, is kind of mirrored. So I'm looking at everything back to front. So it's all it can be a bit confusing for me sometimes. It doesn't take much to confuse me. So I've just switched over my regular foot for my invisible foot. Back in there. And then I'm going to take my garment and I'm going to place it so if my invisible zip, dark, isn't it? Let me just switch on the light again, see if we can get a bit more light going. So if you were sewing a regular zip, you would be sewing down the outside here, and you'd have top stitching on your garment on the outside. But because we're doing an invisible zip, we want to flip the zip tape out, and we're going to be putting the zip teeth in one of the little grooves. So to start with,
to start right at the top, even though
Yeah,
the thin
right.
allowance of the waist. Yeah.
Yes, right at the top, absolutely right at the top. The other thing you want to make sure is that your needle is centered. So you don't want your needle off to the left. Most invisible zip feet will require the needle to be centered. Otherwise you'll end up breaking a needle. And what I do as I'm stitching, you can probably see I'm just kind of rolling the zip tape over. I want to roll that zip tape. I almost keep kind of squidging the zip teeth down so that they're rolling out. So I'm doing the back of the garment. So I'm attaching the zip to the back of the garment. I've got the zip teeth in the left-hand channel of the invisible zip foot. Just brought the needle down manually just to make sure it's anchored. And then I'm going to start stitching nice and slowly. There's no need to take it fast. And as I'm stitching, again, like I say, I'm just putting a bit of pressure on the zip teeth and just rolling those out as I go. Yeah.
It's stressful.
So as I get to about halfway, I've realized something that I still need to do. And that is I need to take my zip pull. So I'm just gonna make sure
Up and down, isn't it?
Let's make sure that you can really see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to take my zip pull and I'm going to poke it just inside my my zip, and I'm going to just push it through. Now, if you've got a pair of tweezers, they can be very useful here, because we need to basically just kind of push the, whoops, we need to make the zip go further down than the opening. We want the zip to go further down than where the opening is, which is easier said than done. So if you've got your zip basted in, you might need to just slightly open up some of the basting stitching. Oh, there it is. Thinking, where's my zip pull gone? Okay. So I want to pull my zip down as far as it'll go. If you can do that before you start attaching the zip, it is a lot easier than trying to do it whilst your zip is underneath the machine. Because what we want to be doing to make sure that we're getting a nice finish is we want to be stitching the zip, the invisible zip, on beyond where our opening is. So we've got our opening where the regular stitching for the side seam starts, and I want to stitch down a couple of centimeters past that. I'm just going to carry on stitching. I've made a little mistake and just stitched through my zip teeth on the last couple of stitches because I was rushing it. So don't do what I've done. Take your time. Just unpicked those two stitches that had gone over. And you can hear when it's happening, you can kind of hear it's the stitching sounds very heavy. Let's go back to where I was. Just roll that zip open. Okay, a couple of back stitches at the end just to secure. I think we're okay this time.
Sarah, I'm
Yeah.
a little behind.
No worries.
My overlapper ran out of threads. I just rethread it and then it wouldn't rethread. And so I'm a little bit behind. So I'm at the part where I'm deciding where to put my invisible zip in before I baste.
Yes.
When I put my zip in, does the fabric have to be like where the teeth start and like this overhanging bit is, or like the bit up here, is like off the fabric, or does the okay?
Yeah,
so
so
the
you
fabric goes where the teeth.
No, sorry, the fabric matches the top of the zip.
Okay, thank you.
Zips are made.
Yeah,
made.
I just want to double check that I was putting it right.
So zips are made with about a 1.5 centimetre or 5/8 of an inch excess at the top for that reason.
Okay.
But, yeah, it's one of the things where something has been designed and somebody's thought about how it's actually going to be used.
All right. And when we put it in, we're putting it zipper pull side down.
That's right. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Zip pull side down.
Side down. Okay. And we're leaving like 3 centimeters at the bottom.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. So you want to. I would. I would leave about 5 centimeters. 5 centimeters the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah. If you've got a zip that's the right length.
5 centimeters from the end of the tape, or 5 centimeters from the end of the tape?
5 centimeters from the end of the tape if you've got one that is the right zip that's the right size. Yeah.
It's a 20 centimeter one.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
I'm pretty sure it was right.
Yeah. It's so funny. I do everything in centimeters, but not zips.
12 inches, 30 centimeters.
30 centimeters. Ah, okay. Yeah. So you've just got a slight. You've got a shorter zip, but that's the same as I've got. So whatever you do, just leave some at the bottom.
Yeah.
You've got some space to move your zip.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
No worries. So I'm just inserting the other side. I'm just attaching the zip to the other side, so to the front panel. And this time I've got my zip teeth in the channel that's on the right. So I've got the zip teeth in the right hand channel this time. Brought my needle down, so I'm anchoring it. Just realized that you can't actually see what I'm doing. I'll just move the camera angle. There we go. So yeah, zip teeth are in the right hand channel, needles down to anchor, and then I'm just going to start stitching that in place. Just taking my time. And what I really don't want to do is catch the zip teeth. I want a nice close zip or stitch that is close to the zip teeth. But I really don't want to catch the zip teeth, because if you catch even one little bit of the zip teeth, that's when it won't do up. Zip will just refuse to move. Now this side is a lot harder because you've got all the bulk of the fabric kind of in the throat of the machine just here. So you probably find it easier just to kind of poke as much of it through as you can at this point, just so that you've got everything nice and flat, because it can get a bit bulky if you don't tame it. Remember, you're in control, not the fabric. Okay, and that's my opening. I'll just get a pin, show you. That's where my opening is, just there. And I'm going to sew down to about here. Just making sure that the underneath of the fabric is completely flat. Back stitch, a couple of back stitches at the end. Oh. Okay, so we have our zip inserted now. That's the zip inserted. As you can see, it's got a nice, neat opening just down here. So no bubbles or anything like that that we get with if we do the other methods. And we just need to now find the zip pull from the back and just poke it through. Like so. So I've got my zip pull there. I'm just going to hold on to the bottom of the zip tape and pull that through. Now it is a bit fiddly. Yes, it does do up. And yeah, I have got very thick, fuzzy cord, so an invisible zip isn't ideal for this, just because the cord can get caught a little bit, but actually it's not got caught too much, so I think we're okay. And then I think with a little press, that's going to look nice and neat. We've not got the kind of bubble that we would get at the bottom, and do need to give that a little bit of a press, but that's, I would say, pretty good invisible zip. Just give that a press. And at this point, you can take out your basting stitches. So I'd take out your basting stitches before pressing, just because otherwise you're going to be pressing your zip where the basting stitches are holding it, rather than where the original stitch, rather than where the actual stitching is holding it. Okay, so I'm just going to take that over to the ironing board and give that a good press. Okay, that's my invisible zip inserted. Can't see it because it's invisible. So it's still got a few threads on the back, so we'll Open up, and you shouldn't end up with that bubble that you sometimes end up with your inserting your invisible zip and then closing the seam. Right, so the rest of the culottes are quite straightforward. That is the difficult bit, so well done, got through that. The next thing to do